If you will entertain me, I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I like to do that when I'm grounding my work. So I went into ethology a little bit and read that group living animals is like the kind of the big category here, is defined as any individual of the same species that maintains spatial proximity with one another over time with the mechanism of social attraction. And one key feature of group living animals, of which we are, is that they rely on social signaling. And they use this for protection against predators. You might hear some noise. So there's a really interesting example here of the impala alarm call when it sees a leopard. So it's actually signaling to other impalas that a predator is present, but it's also signaling to the predator that it's been seen. And what it does is stop there and stare at it and make that call. And sometimes the leopard will signal back and raise its tail to say, I know you've seen me, and actually stop the hunt. Impalas will also signal for a different kind of predator, a totally different range of behaviors. Here they do as quietly as they can. They leap away from wild dogs and do something called stotting, where they like throw their back legs in the air. And it's signaling to the wild dog, don't chase me, I'm going to put up a really good fight, while not tipping off the rest of the impalas, because wild dogs actually get an advantage for hunting when there's like a chaotic stampede. It also signals access of potential mates. Like here's the lioness's mating call, right? We hear these things all over the animal kingdom. It signals for foraging efficiency, which is pretty interesting. Bottlenose dolphins really coordinate and have to communicate with each other to do these really heavily coordinated hunting of fish, where one of them drives them in the air. But another interesting thing is that these foraging signals are not always collaborative. Bats will actually give defensive signals that say, like, stay away from my food. And they also signal territorial boundaries. Really cool ones are in octopuses. Here, the octopus is straightening. These are the same species of octopus. Okay, so it's like putting its body up and turning its skin completely black, telling this one to keep away from its space. This one is signaling with half of its skin color, I see you, don't attack me, I'm not going to fight, I'm going to leave. And with the rest of its skin color, it just has like some neutral, I don't know exactly what that means, but it's facing the person. So it's actually coordinating its skin language towards who can see it. And of course, it's really important for the development of social bonds. Here's a mutual gaze. These two bonobos don't really know each other that well, and they're actually engaging in some sort of consent behavior before grooming. Some bonobos, when they become really close, will actually skip these behaviors and just go right to the grooming because they're already friends. So successful signaling involves some sort of a target.
Yeah, this is a great presentation. Thank you.
Thanks.
I was interested in your framing of the work in the beginning in this cross-comparative way. And I wondered if that was simply sort of trying to say other species do this too. This is so fundamental. Or do you have specific insights? You're thinking of one species in particular, another? Yeah. I'm just curious how you're thinking about the connections across species and how we see these relationships or signaling in general.
Yeah, I love that question. I think signals are so interesting. The signal is showing that the animal has some sort of representation of what the outcome of its actions will be. A lot of like the sense of self literature speaks to that, where it's like if you have some representation of like how you're going to affect the world, that you could potentially create self-awareness. It's hard for me to put into like concise words why I'm so intrigued by this. Kind of speaks to this like sort of commonality across all brains and so many diverse ones. And the fact that like the impala communicates to the predator just was blowing my mind when I was reading that, because I kind of always thought of like alarm calls as very much like this automatic reaction, like alert your people and get out of there. But there's far more complex social interaction that are going on.
Yeah. But I love the way you just put it, because you're flipping it from the way we tend to think about empathy and reading others as it's it's the observer's task.
Yeah.
And what you just said, when you're talking about other species, it's the task of the individual under threat or expressing. And it would be kind of interesting to flip that around and see what kinds of patterns you see there. Anyway, yeah. I was just curious in how you thought of it. I liked the framing.
Yeah, I found when I was Googling some of this new branch of like dialectical behavioral therapy that is incorporating the idea of social signals. And one of the ideas is that they want to teach their patients how to give more effective signals, because if you're not being understood by society, that'll increase your alienation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.